Hello students, welcome to my channel Pratik Singh Classes. In this video we will study about CBSE Standard 10th Science Unit 6. This is the part 6 of Unit 6, Lesson 6 and 38th video in the row for CBSE Standard 10th Science. Today we will start from the tubes, that is blood vessels. About transportation in human body we already have seen in the previous classes. Okay, then we have seen about RBC, WBC and how the blood pressure changes, okay, in breathing in and breathing out. Okay, then today we will start from the tubes, blood vessels. Arteries are the vessels which carry blood away from the heart to various organs of the body. Okay, and also arteries are the part where the blood contains highest amount of oxygen. Okay, so that means in the arteries, okay, the amount of oxygen content is very high. Okay, and it goes to the each and every part of the body, each and every cell of the body. Since the blood emerges from the heart under high pressure, the arteries have thick elastic walls. Okay, so always remember that when the heart pressurizes the blood to move away from it, okay, means from heart to other parts of the body, in the arteries, okay, the pressure is very high. Okay, and so the walls of the arteries are thicker and more elastic. Okay, veins collect the blood from different organs and bring it back to the heart. Okay, and you should remember that in the veins the amount of oxygen content in blood is very less, or you can say that vein contains deoxygenated bloods. Okay, means it contains carbon dioxide from each and every cell and return it back to the heart, where it goes to the lungs, and thus carbon dioxide comes out from our body. Okay, they do not need thick walls because the blood is no longer under pressure. Instead, they have valves that ensure that blood flows only in one direction. Okay, so keep in mind that in veins the blood is deoxygenated. Okay, then the pressure is less, and also it has valves which makes the blood not to come in backward direction. Okay, that means the blood flows in veins in only one direction, unidirection. On reaching an organ or tissue, the artery divides into smaller and smaller vessels to bring the blood in contact with all individual cells. Whatever is the size of the cell, it will convey oxygen molecules to each and every cell. Not only that, it also will convey nutrition to each and every individual cell. The smallest vessel have walls which are one cell thick and are called capillaries, and most of the capillaries are present in our brain. Exchange of material between blood and surrounding cells take place across thin wall. The capillaries then join together to form vein that convey the blood away from the organ or tissue. Okay, and it contains high amount of carbon dioxide. Okay, or waste material which are to be filtered out of our body. Now, maintenance of platelets. What happens if this system of tubes develops a leak? That means, if suppose in arteries or in veins, if there happens some internal bleeding, some internal leakage happens, how will our body take care of it? Think about situations when we are injured and start bleeding. Naturally, the loss of blood from the system has to be minimized. Sorry. In addition, leakage would lead to a loss of pressure which would reduce the efficiency of the pumping system. Okay, to avoid this, the blood has platelet cells which circulate around the body and plug these leaks by helping to clot the blood at these points of injury. So whether it is internal or external injury, there platelets makes the clot, and in such a way that leakage stops from there, and it maintains the pressure inside our body. It maintains the circulation of body in proper way. Coming to lymph, okay, there is another type of fluid also involved in transportation, and this is called lymph or tissue fluid. Okay, sometimes you might have seen that whenever you get a cut, blood doesn't come out, and instead water like substance comes out from there. Though the pores present in the walls of capillaries, some amount of plasma, proteins and blood cells escape into the intercellular spaces in the tissues to form the tissue fluid or lymph. It is similar to plasma of blood but colorless and contains less protein. Okay, Lymph drains into lymphatic capillaries from the intercellular spaces which join to form large vessels that finally open into large veins. Lymph carries digested and absorbed fat from intestine and drains excess fluid, extracellular space back into the blood. Okay, so all these things are necessary for the correct transportation of materials, blood, nutrients in our body to each and every cell, and also to remove the unwanted or undigested, okay, materials from our cells outside the body, okay, in any way. Coming to section 6.4.2, that is transportation in plants. Okay, we have just seen that arteries and veins are the special pathways in our body from which the blood flows to each and every cell. Okay, but in case of plants, how does the transportation happens? Okay, they don't have blood, instead they have minerals, salts, and water. So how does these go from roots to the each and every cell of the leaf to do photosynthesis? So we will see it here. We have discussed earlier how plants take a simple compound such as carbon dioxide and photosynthesis energy is stored in their chlorophyll containing organ, namely leaves. Okay, in case of green plants and trees. The other kind of raw material needed for building building plant bodies will also have to be taken up separately. For plants, the soil is the nearest and richest source of raw material, okay, which provides it nitrogen, phosphorus, and other minerals. Okay, in previous classes you might have studied about NPK. Okay, just in comment section you can comment what is the meaning of NPK, and also sorry, it is all absorbed by the roots, okay, from the soil. The absorption of these substances therefore occurs through the part in contact with the soil, namely roots. Okay, we know that the roots absorb everything from the soil which is needed by the healthy growth of plants and trees. It is if the distance between the soil contacting organ and chlorophyll containing organ are small, energy and raw materials can easily diffuse to all parts of the plant body. Diffuse means here it will go to the each part of the plant body. But if suppose the plant or tree is very high, okay, just suppose like palm tree or banyan tree, okay, in that situation the distance becomes large because the changes in plant body design. Diffusion process will not be sufficient to provide raw material in leaves and energy in roots. A proper system of transportation is therefore essential in such situations. Energy needs differ between different body designs. Okay, as animals have different body design, likewise plants and trees also have different body design, and so the needs are different for different type of designs. Plants do not move, and plant bodies have a large proportion of dead cells in many tissues. As a result, plants have low energy needs and can use relatively slow transportation system. Okay, not like us where we need a higher pressure for transportation system, okay, to make the speed maintained. Okay, in case of plants and trees, the energy need is very less, and so the transportation should be not so much fast. It is on an optimal level. Okay, or you can say that it is far lesser if compared with our body. The distances over which transportation systems have to operate, however, can be very large in plants such as a tall tree. Means from the root to the uppermost part of the tree, okay, the distance increases, and so the transportation systems are too much, we can say, elite to move the raw material to each and every part, each and every portion, okay, from roots to the leaves, and again back the prepared food from leaves to the every part of the plant. Plant transport system will move energy stores from leaves and raw material from roots. Okay, means raw material will be absorbed from the roots and should be taken to the every part, okay, every green leaves of the plant, and again when the green leaves will do photosynthesis, they will make food, and that food must be transported to each and every part back in plants up to roots. These two pathways okay, These two pathways are constructed as independently organized conducting tubes. One, the xylem moves water and minerals obtained from the soil. Okay, means xylem takes the minerals and water from the soil through the roots to each and every part of the plants and trees, and the other is phloem. Okay, phloem. Okay, which transports the photosynthesis from leaves and where they are synthesized to other parts of the plant. Okay, we have studied the structures of these tissues in detail in our previous classes. Okay, now here we will study about how xylem transports water from the soil to the leaves. Transportation of water. The xylem tissue, vessels and tracheids of the roots, stems and leaves are interconnected to form a continuous system of water conducting channel reaching all parts of the plant. Okay, just like the arteries in our body, at the root, cells in contact with the soil actively take up ions. Okay, always remember that whenever we say that the roots absorb minerals and water from the soil, okay, it is not in the molecular form, instead it is in ionic form. Okay, water is absorbed in the form of H plus and OH minus ions. This creates a difference in the concentration of these ions between the root and the soil. Water therefore moves into the root from the soil to eliminate this difference. This means that there is a steady movement of water into root xylem, creating a column of water that is steadily pushed upwards. All right. However, this pressure by itself is unlikely to be enough to move water over the heights that we commonly see in plants. Plants use another strategy to move water in xylem upward to the highest point of the plant body. Okay, so let us do the activity 6.8 to understand this movement in a deep manner. All right, fine. Activity 6.8. Take two small pots of approximately same size and having same amount of soil. One should have plant in it. Place a stick of the same height as the plant in the other pot. Okay. Cover the soil in both pots with a plastic sheet so that moisture cannot escape by evaporation. Okay. So what will happen there is the stick which is dead will not absorb water from the pot, okay, which is filled with moist soil, okay, and the other which contains a baby plant, okay, it will absorb water from the soil. Okay, so let us see what is given here. Cover the soil in both pots with a plastic sheet so that the moisture cannot escape by evaporation. Cover both sheets, one with plant and the other with a stick, with plastic sheets and place in bright sunlight for half an hour. Do you observe any difference in two cases? What happens there? Provided that the plant has an adequate supply of water, the water which is lost through the stomata is replaced by water from the xylem vessels in the leaf. In fact, evaporation of water molecules from the cell of a leaf creates a suction which pulls water from xylem cell of roots. The loss of water in the form of vapor from the aerial parts of the plant is known as transpiration. So always keep in mind what is the meaning of transpiration, okay, how it is lost. All right. So what happens there is the amount of water being lost by the stomata, from the stomata in the form of water vapor, same amount of water will be sucked from the roots of the plant. Thus, transpiration helps in absorption and upward movement of water and minerals dissolved in it from roots of the leaves. Means in with the process that is called as transpiration, water and minerals are being absorbed from the soil to the plants. Okay, it also helps in temperature regulation. Okay, if the temperature outside is very high, the transpiration rate will also be high in such a way that the temperature of the body of plant and the surrounding environment must match similar to each other. Okay, during the day when the stomata are open, the transpiration pool becomes the major driving force in the movement of water in the xylem. Okay, now transport of food and other substances means once the water and minerals are transported from the roots to the leaves, okay, and then there happens photosynthesis, then the processed food means the food made by the plants in the green leaves, how does it go from one part to the other part of the plant? That is given here, transport of food and other substances. So far we have discussed the transport of water and minerals in plants. Now let us consider how products of metabolic processes, particularly photosynthesis, are moved from leaves where they are formed to other parts of the plants. Okay, this transport of soluble products of photosynthesis is called translocation. Let me delete this once again. This transport of soluble product of photosynthesis is called translocation, and it occurs in the part of vascular tissue known as phloem. Okay, that means the process in which the prepared food is being transported to each and every part of the plant is called as, the word is given here, where is that? Translocation. Besides the product of photosynthesis, the phloem transport amino acids and other substances. All right. These substances are especially delivered to the storage organs of fruits and seeds and the growing organs. Okay. So whatever food we eat, which we get from the plants, is the food processed by the plants for themselves, which are in excess. Okay. The translocation of food and other substances take place in the sieve tubes with the help of adjacent companion cell both in upward and downward directions. Unlike transport in xylem, which can be largely explained by simple physical force, the translocation in phloem is achieved by utilizing energy. Okay, that means even though energy is needed for needed in transportation and translocation, the energy amount in translocation is much higher than that of transportation. Material like sucrose is transferred into phloem tissue using energy from ATP. Okay, this increases the osmotic pressure of the tissue, causing water to move into it. Okay, this pressure moves the material in the phloem to tissue which have less pressure. This allows the phloem to move material according to the plant's needs. For example, in the spring, sugar is stored in root or stem tissue would be transported to the buds which need energy to grow. All right, so this is all about the transportation in plant. Okay, we have seen in previous video about the transportation in human body. Then in today's video we have seen a lot about plants. Okay, then next topic is excretion. Once we will complete all the topics of this lesson, we will go to the questions given in just one video. Fine. So in next video we will study about how the waste is being excreted from our body to outside, and not only us, in plants also, and a lot of other interesting things we will see. Okay, so I hope you have enjoyed our today's class. I request you all to please subscribe my channel Pratik Singh Classes if you are new to it, and like it and share it among your friends so that everybody should get benefits from my knowledge. Till my next video, take care of yourself. Bye bye.